Canada's mission against ISIS will now extend until March of next year, and we may soon see our planes dropping bombs in Syria, the only Western nation other than the United States to do so. This week on the West Block, Tom Clark spoke to the Kurdish representative to the United States. Tom, tell us about it.
Well, Robin, the passage of the resolution answers the question about what Canada will be doing in that part of the world for the next 12 months, but it brings up a host of other questions. Two of them are this: how much longer is this going to go on for, and what's next? On the West Block, we spoke with the representative of the Kurdish government in Washington. Clearly on the Kurdish agenda is independence from Iraq. She said when this fight is over, Kurds are going to want their own state. And secondly, they're not about to go and help fight ISIS in any other part of Iraq because they say the conditions are just not right to do it. It's a very complicated place. In terms of how much longer, the Kurdish government representative likened this to the Cold War and said this could go on a long time and urged Canada to be there for the duration.
Everybody needs to be committed to it for the long term. I don't remember, for example, during the period of the Cold War, the United States or the West saying, we will only deal with the Soviet Union for the next 2 years. The West was in the fight, the Cold War, for as long as it thought it was necessary. And I think that's how we should view this.
Canada's Defence Minister Jason Kenney wouldn't go so far as to commit to a generational struggle, but he admitted that it is going to take an awfully long time. And Canada's role, he said, is going to be restricted to stopping extremist groups like ISIS from actually forming states from which they can fight. As to the question about whether Canada's bombing of Syria is actually helping Bashar al-Assad stay in power, Kenney dismissed that, in fact, went so far as to say that Canada is now calling for regime change in Syria. Take a listen.
We want there to be a ceasefire leading to a peace agreement between the parties in Syria that leads to a government that respects the rights of all confessions and communities, that gets rid of Bashar al-Assad, and that prevents the likes of ISIS and the al-Nusra Front from taking power.
Well, aside from regime change in Syria and fighting ISIS, perhaps one of the biggest problems that lies ahead for the coalition is not military but humanitarian, as the tide of refugees and the destructions of states starts weighing heavily on any solution.